I always I grew up watching movies after school. I also had a art of the film teacher in high school who taught the art of the film from silent films through the 30s and 40s. And so it was also a time back in the 70s and early 80s where they had revival theaters in New York City where they would play, 35 millimeter prints of all
Yeah.
these movies you'd see on TV. So we would go, and sometimes the directors would introduce them, like Frank Capra, Billy Wilder, Cary Grant, Alfred Hitchcock were there. Um, so,
So,
so I got very, very enraptured in storytelling. Um,
okay.
my film teacher also taught English literature, and I was introduced to Dickens and many other authors that sort of, I think, lit a fire for storytelling. And from there, uh, I wanted to go to film school. I wanted to learn more. So I went to NYU uh, for 3 years. And in between semesters, I would go to Los Angeles to sort of learn the business side, try to figure out what's going on out there at the same time, which is why I left, because I realized
Mm.
having a degree was less important than actually getting your foot in the door. And while I was in New York, I worked on, like as a production assistant on an after school special TV show that did a series of things, and I through that I made my own film at NYU that got some notice and got put on television actually. So
Wow.
yeah, and from that, Roger Corman and his New World Pictures uh, saw it on television or in the TV guide or something, and reached out and said, "If you're ever in Los Angeles, we'd love to meet you." So of course, I flew right out there. So
Yeah,
and
can imagine.
yeah, I was like, I think I'm going to be there tomorrow. And so that's sort of how that all evolved. In the meantime, I was working for a another writer who was writing for musicals for Broadway, a very famous Broadway librettist named Michael Stewart, who wrote Bye Bye Birdie, Carnival, Hello Dolly, 42nd Street. I mean, all these big, great musicals. So I got to watch another artist in at work. He got me a job as a production assistant on the movie Annie. That's started Albert Finney, and uh, when I got there, it was shot in New Jersey, so it wasn't far from me. I'm from New Jersey. Um, the director's assistant, John Huston's assistant, died, and so they needed somebody to kind of be a liaison between the production side and him, and so I just jumped in, and so I learned quite a bit of what it took to make a movie and how to tell a story, and I became very friendly with the um, screenwriter, Carol Sobieski, who had written one of my favorite movies called Casey's Shadow. So I was kind of learning how a writer navigates the world of having your script
Hmm.
reimagined by other people. So
Yeah.
I learned that quite early. And after that, I ended up in LA, and I got introduced to a producer uh, named Donald Borchers, who worked for New World Pictures. And
Okay.
he showed me a poster of a movie that I thought was very cool. And he said, I need a movie to go with the poster. Like they had an actual poster and an advertising campaign and no movie. And he said,
That's crazy.
I know, right? I'm like, is this how it works? And he said, so if you can write me a movie called Vamp that has
Hmm.
strippers, college kids, and vampires in it, you can direct it. And I did, and I did. So that was my sort of entrance into writing
Okay.
a movie and getting it made.